Yo, what's good, everybody? This is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, and today is Tuesday, September 8th. Had to double check. Man, yesterday was pretty fire. I gotta admit, I kind of went, I wouldn't say overboard, but this is the importance of having systems and scheduling because there's there's like a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot of fluff in between. Like there was a point in time where I was waiting for a video to upload on YouTube and it was processing, and I needed that video to put on an article to go ahead and push out, and I kind of felt stuck even though there was definitely things for the article I could have, set up, which I later did, which was get the thumbnail, get the tags, make sure everything else other than having to put this video was good to go. And it was kind of like this waiting period. And I mean, at that point, I'd already did a lot for the day. Like when I think about yesterday, I did 3 articles, I posted 3 videos throughout the day to YouTube. I was on several different multimedia platforms engaging, doing edits for videos and different podcast stuff. So it's just like holy moly. Then reaching out to certain people. So it's cool because now today I can kind of see what that did. Sometimes when we're doing stuff, we forget that sometimes the effect is delayed. So I mean, I think what that was yesterday was almost like a kind of like inclination for like this Mars energy for me when we have this retrograde. It starts tomorrow to like November 19th or something like that. Like there's a lot of tension. When you think about being triggered and different things like that, I think I had a quote which is like, you can be triggered but you don't have to pull it or something like that. But my thing is, it's hard to even put your hand on the trigger if the gun is nowhere to be found. I'm not saying that you're not going to be triggered from certain things, but this is a very reactionary time right now. So a lot of what I'm trying to do is take those steps back and really dive into how things work. Sometimes I still have to remind myself that I'm only just about to be 30 in a couple of months. A lot of people that I see that either have some type of whatever, that I deem to be, a better position or better prestige or something like that. I don't even know what it is half of the time. But a lot of these people are 10, 5, 10, 15, 20 years older, and I'm sitting up there like, man, I'm obviously not doing something right. No, you are. It just takes time. Like I have to, like, okay, to put into context a lot of things. So I'll be 30 in January. I've been working for myself as far as building up my business and building up a security to take care of myself financially since March of 2017. Now, of course, within that, I've had all different types of help, as you should. You're not, like, I always look at this in the sense of, an actual human. Like I look at business, I look at relationships like an actual human, even though sometimes I still don't follow that logic. I try to keep it in my head due to the fact that what do you expect a 1-year-old to be doing? What do you expect a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old to legit be like, all right, it's all on you. Like, you got it. Like, no, it is the same thing for your business, which means now there's definitely a couple of ways to go about this. And it's funny because this actually goes along with this book that I'm reading, and the fact that yesterday I was listening to Jay-Z's first album, Reasonable Doubt. And it's very funny because when we look at definitions and we look at entrepreneurship and different things like that, let's look at a couple of things. So, reasonable doubt definition. All right. So, legal definition of reasonable doubt: a doubt especially about the guilt of a criminal defendant that arises or remains upon fair and thorough consideration. Beyond a reasonable doubt is a legal standard of proof required to validate a criminal conviction in most adversary legal systems. So, reasonable doubt. So, basically, you're going to have to, well, I'm not going to make any type of, whatever, give you the reasonable, like a reasonable doubt, that, everything, it has to be proven. Like, I can't sit here and be like, you're this, and this, and there's no actual proof. Another thing, clear and convincing evidence. So, what is reasonable doubt? Clear and convincing evidence. So, without that clear and convincing evidence, you kick rocks. But the reason why I bring that up is, you have to have, as far as these clear and convincing evidences, as far as to, sometimes as entrepreneurs or creators, we feel like we have to have these particular things to feel like we are doing something correct. And so in chapter 3 of this book, it shows, a little summary is: a habit is a behavior that has been repeated enough times to become automatic. The ultimate purpose of habits is to solve the problem of life with as little energy and effort as possible. Any habit can be broken down into a feedback loop that involves 4 steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. Now, the one thing that I want to go back to is the ultimate purpose of habits is to solve the problems of life with as little energy and effort as possible. Now, there's one thing that I wanted to bring up. Why that is so important. Why do I bring up reasonable doubt? Why do I bring up Jay-Z? Why do I bring up all this stuff? Well, because this is the composition. This is how my mind literally works. It pulls from all different types of things to bring some type of point home. So the reason why that's so interesting is the habits are ultimately supposed to make our life easier, without, little effort or different things like that. Because more often than not, we want to make the big changes that have little results instead of the little changes that have big results. So let me say that again. Oftentimes, we want to make the big changes that have little results instead of making the small changes that have big results. Now, of course, this is an overtime thing, so with reasonable doubt, Jay-Z's first album, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he had an album before that, but as far as like what was considered studio and everything like that, the cool thing about Jay-Z is that he, for the most part, was just all like, yo, we gonna do this joint. You know, as far as like we go, he, I don't think he ever wanted to be an employee of somebody, like, ever. You know, I think that he would do deals with people either as or with the confidence as equals, you know. And it's very, very interesting that that would be his first album, and then fast forward, when did he drop that? He dropped that in, let's see, discography, he dropped that in 1996. So 1996 to 2006 to 2016, that's 20 years, almost like 25 years ago, man. Think about that. That's damn near 5 years. You know, 5 more years, and that would be literally as long as I've been alive. You know, so I always have to put into perspective like how long this road is. Like, okay, and why, this is why I bring, as far as entrepreneurship, as far as these atomic habits, reasonable doubt, you know, kids, everything like that, due to the fact that when some people are doing businesses, even when I was just looking at a video, and it was these two dudes. One of them had like 500 subscribers on YouTube, and the other one has like 6,000 or whatever. But the person doing the interview for them really wanted to put how important and how realistic that is, because so many people, they don't want like thousands or millions of subscribers, maybe not yet, you know, maybe they want to like ease into that. You know, sometimes, think about this. I'm not saying that your subscribers or followers are your employees, but I want you to think about, as far as, you know, the interaction. Let's say that you go from 0 to 500 employees. Let's say you went from you to then going to 500 employees. Unless you've created a system within yourself that you can replicate and expand, so it didn't matter how many people you ended up getting on board, you had a system in place to be able to manage that. You know, if you don't, without that, like, that's a lot, you know. So think about how much engagement and the needs, and, you know, if you don't have anything in place, all those people are hitting you up like, what? You know, so when it comes to subscribers, and also understanding, you know, views versus subscribers, you know, and understand, like, people subscribe for a number of reasons. And I was listening to this Gary Vee video yesterday, and he brought up a lot of good points, which was, you know, there's some people who have been trying to, you know, get at me or get 5 minutes, you know, with me for 10, 6, 5, 3 years, you know. And the way he does it is, you know, whether through a system that he has where you can get on to be, you know, ask him a question. You know, he had his Ask Gary Vee show for a while now. He has his Tea with Gary, you know, so that in combination with like emails or DMs or different things like that, it's not easy because the pick is at complete random. And so he brought up how there was a kid who won 5 minutes with him, and the kid was just all like, I feel bad because I've only just started listening to you for, you know, 4 months ago. And Gary Vee's just all like, look, that's literally how things happen. Like, it is a combination of are you ready versus timing versus all of these other things. And so if you can get into the habit of doing the small changes daily that bring you the big results, then that's pretty much all you do. If you're cutting away, if you're doing that, and you ultimately, and that's what you actually want to do, then it's not going to matter when it happens. As long as you're doing what it is that you can. So of course there's people that are in all different types of situations, which is very, I wouldn't say difficult, but as an entrepreneur, as someone who has their own business, as someone who's pushing, their own art or different things like that, you have to look at things you have to take a step outside of yourself in some cases, and really just be like, you know what? I didn't take that into consideration. A lot of times we don't, because we're just trying to figure it out. We have so much, pressure we put on ourselves that is unwarranted. Sometimes that is due to your upbringing. Sometimes that's due to your environment. And you have a bunch of people who are trying to figure it out, and then they feel they know what's right as far as for you based on whatever. It's something that I've taken a lot into consideration. So I don't want to go into too much on here, because there is a really dope interview you should be listening to that I released yesterday with Saint May. That one's really cool. It was almost like an hour long. So, we talk a lot about the importance of, community, the importance of really taking the time out to really get feedback when it comes to your products or your work, so that way you can be able to deliver better. We talked about parenting and whether or not you should give your children CBD, especially during this time. You have parents who, now homeschooling has been around for sure, but that's a very small fraction. So now you have parents who didn't even consider it, and some that were considering it, so it actually worked out in their favor or whatever, but they didn't know what it was all entailed. Basically you have some people that are having to do the homeschooling for the first time this year, and then you also have students that are going back to school, and there's a lot of question marks. And my kid going to school, are they gonna catch it, bring it home? So there's that. There's the physical kid itself, and I don't know if a lot of people even dived into thinking about that, like what type of anxiety or what type of fear or stress are the kids under that are going to school. So with that being said, that's why I think it was super important to have a parent who actually has seen the benefit of giving their child CBD. And I'm curious to see how much more CBD is going to be put into the forefront. And I guess it's, there's a lot of people that are in that fight. I've been in that fight as well, as far as pushing it. But I'm curious to just see how CBD can really help a lot of these families, whether it's to help their kids interact as far as being at school, so that the way they can focus and not be like stressed or anxious about the unknown, or just being at home, both the kids and the parents taking it, not to escape. Again, do your education with what it actually does. A lot of people come under the conception that it makes you sleepy. some strains do because of the high level of other cannabinoids in it, you know. And then we also have to understand that this is going to be different for everybody. You personally just have to try it over time to see if it works. A lot of people think, all right, I'm gonna take this, it's gonna get all my issues taken care of, da 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 da. No. Now, it is very potent, it is gonna do some stuff for sure, but for you to get a lot of what it is that you want, which in some cases is to get rid of the actual issue or to help, you know, manage it, or even help manage life, you know, that's a lot of what this stuff is. So my personal thing is education with how it works to your body, whether that's any type of cannabinoid, whether that be THC, CBD, CBG, CV, like whatever it is. Understand how it works personally with you. There's some people that can't smoke THC because they just don't understand that they don't need to be, you know, doing it all the time or every day or during the day or after this or before this, or, you know, you just have to understand your body. Sometimes a person will have a bad experience with it and blame the whole thing, but it was actually that strain, or it was that the way that it was packaged and you know, given to you. Like, there's a lot of things that go into play. So understand, before there was pharmaceuticals and everything like that, and still to this day, there's plant medicine. You know, that is a real thing. We have an actual endocannabinoid system within us. So, like, our body has, like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have a endoid pharmaceutical system, you know, something that is manufactured. This is natural, and it's going to have, in my opinion, a better way of working with your body than these unknown things that we're putting in, you know. So this is my little 2 cents of maroonies. So if y'all are feeling that, make sure, if you're listening to this on YouTube, you subscribe, hit the like button. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, whether it be Anchor, shout out to Anchor. Hold on real quick, guys. Okay. So, anyways, if you want to support, link in the description. Definitely check that out. Other than that, yeah, I hope y'all have an awesome day, awesome week. I'm going to be going into details on exactly what this Mars retrograde actually means. And I was literally about to go in right now and be like, oh, well, you know, no, I'll save that because it's actually going on tomorrow. So either today or tomorrow, I want to gather all the resources and give some really cool advice for each zodiac sign. So be on the lookout for that. Again, my name is Mr. Composition MC that writes fiction. Peace.